Hey guys, I'm Robert and I'd like to welcome you down here to the barn. Today I'm going to talk to you about something that's a little bit different for me, something I've avoided for the past year. You guys have been asking me a lot about this. What are my thoughts? What are my thoughts? Tell me about McLaren's financial situation and what you think and how that impacts you. I've avoided it because I do have a good relationship with McLaren. 2 points. I have 4 McLarens at the moment. A 5th one is coming next week. The 620R is a car that I hold in very high regard and have a tremendous amount of expectations for. And secondly, I am actually a fan of all brands. Maybe I tell you I won't own a Lamborghini, but I can respect the cars for what they are. So I'm not a hater of any brand, and in no means is this a video hating on the McLaren brand or product. However, they are in quite the situation. They've announced today, or maybe a couple days ago by the time this video gets released, but they announced today that they are looking to lay off 1,200 people, and they have been hit very hard by the whole COVID-19 situation and the fact that people are not buying cars as they used to be. Well, let's be honest. This is not because of the COVID-19 economy. This is because of a business model. It's very clear. It's very simple. When I say a business model, I'm not talking about the quality of the cars. I'm not talking about the designers. I'm not talking about the staff. I'm talking about simple boardroom practices, how this whole Track 25 program that's going to put 18 new cars out by 2024, how that's handled and what that's done to their own market. That's really the cause of this. If you went into this whole COVID situation and you had a healthy business model, you had a business that was profitable, that was not constantly turning to investors for feedback and for input financial, and the COVID-19 situation truly turned that around and hurt you, and you went to the government and you said, we need money, they would give it to you. If you went to a bank and said, we want to remortgage our production facility, we want to remortgage our fleet of historical cars, they would let you do that. However, if you were, for the past year, sliding downhill, burning through money, had very low liquid cash reserves, and then you went to the bank and said, oh my gosh, we're hurt because of COVID, no, you're not going to get that bank support, and no, you're not going to get that government support. So I think we need to look more objectively at that and realize that there was most certainly a problem before March of 2020. So with that being said, the issue is more about a business model than it is about a current pandemic situation. What do we have? We have a business model where we have 540, 570S, 570S Spider, 5-something GT, a new McLaren GT. So we have 6 or 7 Sport Series cars. We have 675 LT getting produced in 2 levels from Spider to Coupe. The customers who bought the Coupe didn't actually know that a Spider was coming, or many of them didn't, until it was too late. They thought they were buying one of 500. They find out they're buying one of 1,000. This is a plunge for a company to go and make some money and to generate a revenue. It's a very difficult concept to say, why would we not sell 500 more of a 350 or 400,000 euro, dollar, pound car? Any company would like to do that. The issue is that it is not a practice that works, in my opinion, in the luxury car market. In the luxury car market, you really have 2 choices. You produce your cars at slightly below what the demand is. It doesn't matter if it's luxury shoes, if it's handbags, if it's luxury cars, private jets, yachts, whatever. You build less than the demand is, and that builds a customer base that is striving to get your product. It could be a Supreme t-shirt, right? You have to go to a certain store to get it. You have to stand in line to get it, and they don't have enough for everybody that wants one. And that's what actually creates a demand for a product, okay? The 488 Pista right now, I've had mine since December of 2018 is when it was delivered. We're sitting here in May of 2020. So what are we looking at? 18 months later, I have my car for 18 months now, and people are still getting their brand new cars and waiting for them. And there are still people on a waiting list hoping to get one, and it's not been a limited production vehicle. But Ferrari is going to make sure that they stay underneath that demand. There's going to always be people who will not get the car that they want from Ferrari in order to keep a perceived demand in the product, in order to keep the market hot for their product. And that's one of the things that you need to do in any luxury market if you want to succeed. The second thing that you need to do in a luxury market, if the first isn't your business model, you need to produce an item that is very hot and that a lot of people will want, and you can just let fly off the shelves. And Lamborghini has successfully done this with the Urus, in my opinion. The Lamborghini Urus has been a car that has been selling like hotcakes. You see them all over the place, and it's a very popular car. So this is actually something Lamborghini's done really well at, and Ferrari is the master of creating demand in their product via whether it be their special edition cars. How does Ferrari keep that demand in their special edition cars? If I want to buy a Pista, or if somebody wants to buy a Pista, they need to have a history with Ferrari. I'm sorry. If you want to buy a F12 TDF or maybe a GTO or anything like that that's coming out, you need to keep a relationship with the brand. Maybe you had to buy a Lusso. Maybe you had to buy a 488 GTB. If you want the new outcoming F8 Tributo, TDF, GT, whatever, you're going to need to buy an F8 Tributo. Well, these are the things that they're doing to ensure that their customers are loyal to them and that their customers are loyal to the brand. They also, in these base models, do not overproduce them. The 488 GTB is a car that is not overproduced. You've got your people who want a Pista. If everyone that has to buy a Pista has to buy one of those over the whole run of the Pista, maybe they make 1,500 or 2,000 of them. That could be 1,500 or 2,000 GTBs that are sold. That also means that the other people that want those GTBs, they can't get in line for it because the prestigious customers, if you would, who have had a long relationship with Ferrari, they're able to get the first shot at the 488, and then they get to buy their Pista. When they go to sell their 488, they're selling to the people who are waiting, who would have loved to have bought a new 488 but couldn't because Ferrari didn't overproduce the 488 either. So it creates an after-sales program that now puts people up in the ranks and makes sure that there's also demand for the aftermarket cars. If I sold my 488 GTB, I would say about 10 months after I bought it. And I lost 45,000 euro 10 months after I bought the car, which seems like a lot of money. However, with the McLaren, about 10 months after I own the car, the number will be closer to 100,000 euro. The reason is the opposite of what I just explained about Ferrari. McLaren wants to build cars. 570s, we're going to send them to dealers, sell these. Whereas Ferrari is building on orders and production. That is the issue that I see from the McLaren business model at the moment. And this is the issue that is stopping some people from buying new. A lot of people are waiting on the used market, and they're waiting for the prices of the cars to come down so that they don't take that initial hit when they pay 400,000 euro for a car, and then now it's only worth maybe 260, right? That's a big hit to take on a car over a couple of years. So a lot of people are waiting for the used market. However, McLaren continues to produce those cars and send them out to the dealers, and you're getting to the point where the dealers are actually thinking, okay, do we start reducing prices to move this stock? And that is the problem. That doesn't take away from the innovation and the quality of the product. It simply talks about, as I mentioned earlier, the boardroom practices and how it works. What do I believe that McLaren could do at this moment to shore up all of the potential and extract all of the potential that they have in their product? I believe that, unfortunately, these 1,200 employees do have to go, and I really think possibly even more than that. I think that they need to scrap this idea of producing 6,000 cars per year by 2024, which is their maximum capacity for the factory. That concept needs to go away, and they need to scale that back down by half, maybe even to 2,800 or 3,000 cars a year. They need to build on the brand, which is amazing. It's innovative, it's technological, it's a really, really cool product. Any company that will build a Senna, as ugly as you guys may say that it is, any company that will build a Senna and say we don't care what it looks like, we only care about downforce, track figures, performance, and the driving experience, I can get behind that company. I think that's really cool. Any company that builds a Senna and then a Senna GTR, a P1 and a P1 GTR, that's cool stuff. That is really what I think sets this brand ahead of the other companies. This 675 LT is, in my opinion, one of the best cars that I've ever driven. It's so much fun to drive, and that's something that McLaren produced based on their desire for this track model and this futuristic experience, and that's something that I appreciate. McLaren needs to take a step back. We're going to produce half the cars that we have been. We're going to develop a model where if you want this car, you better have a Sports Series in your garage. Produce less Sports Series so that the guy who bought the Sports Series so he can get the 675 LT can sell the Sports Series car to somebody who's actually wants a Sports Series car but can't quite get his hands on one because the car's not overproduced. This is simple boardroom tactics that could completely sway the entire direction that McLaren is going. And if they did this right for the next 5 years, they could be in a position that Ferrari is, where they can actually go up to 4,000, 5,000, or 6,000 cars per year. But you can't do that in a matter of 6 or 7 years. It's too early. The brand doesn't have the support. Ferrari customers jump into a Ferrari and they, oh my gosh, the next Ferrari's out, I have to buy it. Why? Because it has a Cavallino on the side. It has a Cavallino on the steering wheel. You get in a Ferrari and it gives you an emotion just looking at that logo. And this logo just isn't there yet. For a lot of people it is. When you look at their Formula One history and the beauty of the McLaren Technology Center, I love it. We went there last spring, I guess, or last winter, and I took the team with me and I said, I want you guys to see, why do we run McLarens? Look how clean the place is. Look how organized it is. Look at the grout is just absolutely beautiful. Everything has a place, everything has an order, and it must be kept. And that's exactly what I like to see. They need to build on that potential. They need to build on that cleanliness, on that emotion, if you would, and create a customer base that is truly going to be a fanboyism almost as you get from Ferrari or as you get from Porsche, okay? That is, in my opinion, the true model for success in a luxury brand of any sort, and especially in an automotive luxury brand. For me, going forward, this is a big change for McLaren, but it has to be done or the company will become extinct, in my opinion. I don't want it to see extinct. A company that can build a lower number of cars, that can drive on the passion and the excitement for the cars that they build, their amazing ingenuity and design capabilities is a company that I would love to be a part of in any aspect, from operating as taxis to being an enthusiast. It's something that I can fully get behind, and I really hope that McLaren goes that way. I do think, however, that this situation is self-made. It's self-made from the boardroom, and it's pushed up, and I really hope that they take the opportunity to recognize this and make some changes. There's so much potential in the brand, so much capacity for great things, and the new business model should be making absolutely amazing cars, getting them in the right customers' hands, and shoring up the values of aftermarket sales, looking at bringing the cost down of the aftermarket prices for brake pads, brake discs, whatever it may be that you need, and furthermore, making it to where the car is not just so easy to get that everybody and their grandmother could buy one if they wanted to. Put some demand on your product, and I think you've got a winning solution. Anyways, guys, it's short, it's sweet. I hope you like what my take on the whole situation is. I joked the other day in an Instagram post, go buy a McLaren. I think it's really a good way to go. You're going to love it. I've had an absolute blast with each of my cars. However, let's just keep our fingers crossed that the business model changes a little bit and we can see this brand grow into what it really, truly, potentially can. Catch you guys later.